Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from SimpleProgrammer.com. I'm going to do one of these guy videos today. Let's queue up the Becoming a Better Man and Attracting Women playlist here so you can do that. Because you know you want to do that, you guys. So, let's talk about, okay, so I did this video called I Fucked It Up, Friend Zone Forever, where I read this email from this guy that basically friend zoned himself and he wanted to know how to recover, which I told him, sorry dude, it's done, so just move on. And I got this comment from Aurelian, who likes to comment. Aurelian, I love you, man, you're awesome. But he you know why he's so awesome? Because he just has all this honest shit that he just posts out there, and it makes good material, because let's talk about this stuff. Otherwise, some of you are thinking the same thing, but Aurelian posts it, and so I get to address it. So he says here, and this is a little bit of broken English, so I'll try and paraphrase some of this. So he says, we need to be like, girls sit next to me, so I kind of move towards her. My back is going on her side. Or sitting next to a girl and, just randomly put my head on her shoulder. I mean, when it's appropriate, obviously, not to a totally random female, but like when you meet people in the dorm. When you spoke to the person, depending on if it's in a room or a bus. Now I'm really confused, LOL. I understood that you need to show your intentions, right? So that means you tell a girl you like her, LOL, question mark. So that's why. If my friend told a 20-year-old girl, or I gave her a piece of paper saying I like her, that's childish, which goes back to the man video you said. So a couple of things I want to kind of pick apart here. You're not getting it, man. You're just not getting it. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything here. I just want to say, like, okay, let's start with the first thing. All right, well, let's start with the general principle. The idea here, okay, is that you're unafraid to make your intentions clear as a man. Women appreciate a man that is bold, makes his intentions clear, doesn't have a false motive, a hidden agenda, doesn't have an implied contractual obligation, isn't trying to get on her good side, isn't trying to please her, is just aggressively going after what he wants and stating that clearly, or making those intentions clear. Even if you're using some covert communication, you don't always have to be overt. You know the difference between overt and covert, right? Overt is when I say, I want this, and covert is when I indicate that through some other means, right? But it's still direct communication in the fact that you are expressing the intent that you have, right? You're not afraid of it. You're not trying to hide it or mask it under something else, right? You can think of it as, a covert communication that's direct would be some kind of flirting where it's obvious what your intent is, that you actually like this girl in a sexual manner, right? Whereas an overt communication would be that you just say that, right? You just say, hey, you're beautiful. I like you, right? I want to take you to bed, right? I don't know if you want to be that direct and overt, but for some people it might work. Okay, but that's what I'm saying here, is that the premise of what I was saying in that other video and what I want to communicate here is that women appreciate bold directness, confidence. Okay, and so as a man, what you don't want to do is sort of have an ambiguous hidden intent where you're saying one thing but it's clear that you mean something else, or where you're like sort of getting in there to be the friend, but then later you're going to try and develop that into a sexual relationship. You got to come from the beginning basically with, I am attracted to you, that I am interested in you in a sexual way. It could even be that I think I'm interested in you in a sexual way, but I need to evaluate you to see if we're a good match or not, right? That's even a better frame of mind to be in. But you don't want to come in with the frame of mind of like, I really like you and I hope we can be good friends, and then maybe something more. Right? That's bad. That's no good. So with that base, okay, with that understanding, let's dissect a little bit of what Aurelian said and examine some of the things that he said here. So what he interpreted from what I was saying about that before, which I can understand how he interpreted that, said, girl sits next to me, so I kind of move towards her. My back is going on her side. No, wrong. That is creepy. It's creepy. I want you to understand, like, I want you to classify your behaviors, okay, as either suave, slick, right, or creepy. It's one or the other, right? So when you do something like that, when you kind of brush up against a girl like that, you sit next to her and you just randomly brush up against her, that is creepy, okay? She knows what's going on. She's like, this weird random guy, he didn't say anything to me, right? He didn't make me feel at ease. He's just getting a feel on me, right? He's just like trying to make physical contact with me without saying anything, without making a clear intent, just hoping that I'll like it and like him back. It's a validation seeking, right? It's not confident. It's the opposite of confident. It's the opposite of bold. Now, if you go and you sit next to a girl and you're like, hey, what's up? You know, and you say your name and you're like, man, I really like, you know, whatever, and you put your arm around her, you somehow in a joking manner, you're like, you know, whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's fine. That's totally cool. That's making contact, right? That's doing some amount of physical escalation, but in an appropriate way where you're being direct about it, right? And you're clearly expressing your intent and you're doing it in a confident manner. When you accidentally do that and you make that accident happen, that is creepy. Now, as far as what you can get away with, like being direct, you know, it's more than you think, right? And it's not going to be creepy depending on how you do it. If you're doing it with intent, right? You know, when I shake, okay, here's an example, right? If I go and shake your hand and I put my hand out there, it's not creepy at all when I shake your hand, right? But if I walk by you and I sort of grab your hand or brush your hand as I'm walking by you, that's creepy as fucking hell. Like, if I'm walking down the street and someone did that to me, I'm gonna fucking slug them. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why would you just touch me, right? You see what I'm saying? And a lot of guys get this impression that anytime you touch a girl, she's gonna be like, why would you just touch me without asking me? Not true. It's when you do it on the sly, like you try to make it look like an accident or a brush, you see what I'm saying, where it's really, it's creepy. I'm going to use the word creepy a lot of times because you need to understand what you fucking look like when you do this kind of stuff. It's creepy. But when you're direct, right, if you go up and, for example, if you go, and try this. Here, okay, experiment for you guys to test this, okay? You see a hot girl walking by, just put your hand up with a high five. Do it in a confident manner and put your hand out there, okay? I've done this plenty of times before. It's so easy. See, she's gonna touch your hand. You're gonna get direct contact. You're making physical escalation, right? You're actually doing it, right? But you're doing it in a non-creepy way. It's cool to do that. It's fun. You've actually accomplished the goal, right? And you've been direct with your intent, right? You're having fun. It's good. It's fine, right? Same thing, you know, it depends on the context. I don't want you to just randomly put your arm around girls, but if you're slick enough, you can do it. Like I have within 2 minutes of meeting someone, put my arm around them or give them a hug, right? And you can do that if you're direct about it, right? You can meet people and literally just give them a hug and say, come over here. You know what I mean? Like, it depends if you can pull it off personality-wise and how confident you are about it. But if you're confident enough and you're bold enough and you're making the action direct and intentful, it makes all the difference in the world. I'm not going to try and tell you the ways to do that because I don't want to like give you a formula and then like it's going to be weird and it's going to be creepy. But it's all about the difference between being creepy and being slick, right? You don't want to make things accidents or brushing, you know, up. That's weird, right? I hope you understand the difference there, and that's what we want to go for. Okay, that's what you guys want to go for. Not this creepy shit. Okay, it's not the same thing. So I'm going to pass on. I had one more idea, but I can't remember what it is. So then he says, you know, or sitting next to a girl and, just randomly put my head on her shoulder. Oh, no, do not do that. That is creepy. Again, think about that. That is not cool, right? Now, you could totally mask this, right? If you were bold enough, and if you went and you sat next to a girl and you're like, hey, what's going on? And you're like, man, I'm tired today. You know what? I'm gonna sleep on you. And you put your head on her shoulder. You're joking around. You just met her. If you pull that off, that's totally fine. Shoot, that might actually make her attracted to you. That's like, you're confident, you're bold, like, oh, this guy is just like, but you're doing it in a fun way and you're being very clear about what you're doing. You're expressing the intent very clearly that you're having fun and you're doing this and you're bold enough to not be afraid to do that. But if you're just sitting there on the bus, you haven't said anything to her, you just said hi, and you just randomly put your head on her shoulder, I mean, That's creepy. I'm not saying there's not a way to pull that off either, but think about that. Just think about what that is indicating. That is not indicating anything that you want, because the whole point of this is to indicate that you're bold and that you're confident, not that you're not just to touch a girl. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this is why I want to communicate this, because I want to make sure that you guys get this message correctly and don't walk around, being a creepy kind of stalker type of person. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let me see here. So, and he said, I understood you need to show your show your intentions, right? So that means you tell a girl you like her. Not exactly, right? So do you tell a girl that you like her? Do you just say like, hey, I like you? No, like, it's more like, you have to do it in such a way, because if you're like, what is implied by when you say I like you, right? It depends on how you're saying it, but most of the time what's implied there is that I want you to like me. That's what you're saying, right? Is I need validation and I need acceptance, so I like you. And then you're waiting for a response, right? But if you're coming across and you're like, hey, you know what, you're sexy. I just had to stop and talk to you because I don't see a girl that is as sexy as you every day, and if I do, I want to know your name. So let's so, you know what I mean. And then that's how you start the conversation, right? And again, I don't want to give you exact lines because it depends on your personality and how you can pull it off and how much confidence you have. But something like that would be fine. Or just say, man, I'm really attracted to you right now. I would love to meet you and just see if we're a good match, right? Or whatever you want to say, it's fine to be direct like that, right? And to be very clear. And it doesn't even have to be words. It could be totally indirect, but you are indicating interest, that you're not afraid of your sexuality as a man, right? That you have a sexual interest in her, right? It's just the difference between, being friendly and being in that friend zone type of, actually like pretending to just want to be your friend. You're not going up to the girl because you want to be her friend. But if you are indicating in everything that you're saying and everything that you're expressing yourself that you don't see her in a sexual manner but in a friendly manner, that's creepy. It's weird because she knows what you're really up to. You see what I'm saying? And so it's masking your intent, right? Don't mask your intent. Be bold about it. Be clear about it. Be like, yes, I am here. I am hitting on you, right? That's fine. That's totally bold. Again, you don't have to be as direct. I'm trying to not give you words because I don't want you to just be a jackass being super direct when that's not your style and you can't pull that off. But your intent needs to match with your actions. Does that make sense, right? Anytime that you have an incongruency where your actions and your stance and how you're presenting yourself does not match with your intent, it's creepy. It's weird. People know you're up to something, right? Or you're seeking validation. You're seeking something. You're trying to get something from people, right? If you're going into an interaction with a girl, you're trying to give her something, some fun, some pleasure, some excitement into her life. That's what you're bringing to the table. That's why you go up. That's why you talk to her. That's why you have the fun. That's why you have the interaction, right? That's why you do that, not because you're trying to get something and trying to get validation. I'll put my video here. I'm not seeking external validation. Go watch that video. Watch, some of the videos in this playlist. If you're struggling with that, a lot of people do struggle with that, okay? And then I'll end this with the one last part in this. And I like to do a teardown on this. Let you guys let me know if you like these teardowns. But he said here, so that's why if my friend told a 20-year-old girl or I gave her a piece of paper saying I like her, that's childish, which goes back to the man video you said. If you fold up a piece of paper and you write on it that you like some girl, you just take your balls and put them in a fucking jar right now. Because that is the pussiest thing that you can. We're not in third grade. You're not in third grade anymore. And even then, that wasn't cool, okay? Like, have the balls to say it, right? And don't say I like. Say I am attracted to you. Say you're sexy. Say something that is going to sexualize the encounter. Again, you don't have to be explicit and vulgar and be, sexual harassment, jackass, saying all that kind of stuff. You can pull off a little bit more than I think that you think is appropriate, which is good to be a little bit edgy, but don't go with like, and don't write it on a freaking message or an email. Go up and talk. This is why I hate Tinder and all this Bumble and all this shit, is because you need to have the balls to go up and say, hey, what's going on? Hey, I just had to come and introduce myself to you. I like you. I think you are hot And I think maybe we should meet each other, right? Whatever you say, I'm trying not to give you words specifically because I want you to understand the intent. Because I don't want you to just be parroting some shit. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you write it, if you don't have the balls, if you got to send an email, if you got to pass a letter because you can't face rejection, see, writing something down, using Tinder, using Bumble, for most people now, right, is a way of buffering against rejection. What that means is that I don't actually have to face rejection as a man. Women recognize that. They understand that. Like, if you go and you put yourself out there, it shows you must be strong, right? I've got a video on vulnerability, right? Watch the video on vulnerability. When you're vulnerable in that way, it shows that you're actually strong. It's an indicator of strength. It's not weakness. Weakness, don't show weakness. But being vulnerable to the point of like putting yourself out there, of saying, I'm going to go and I'm going to walk up to this group of 5 girls and I'm going to walk into the middle of them and start talking and introduce myself or whatever, or talk to this one girl that I like out of that. That's like very bold. It's very confident. It's very vulnerable. It's putting yourself out there. It's taking a huge risk. You're taking a huge risk against rejection. That is seen as confidence. That is seen as a guy that will take charge, that will defend in a situation where the woman needs to be defended, right? Those are all going to trigger her natural biological attraction switches, right? Whereas if you pass a letter, that's like pussy shit, right? That's like, oh, I'm so afraid of being rejected. I'm so afraid of talking to you. I'm so afraid of you not liking me that I just want to give you a letter, and then we can, if you don't like me, then don't do anything, and if you do, then let me know. Maybe that will work if she's really, really into you, but she's going to lose attraction quickly because that is not attractive, right? That is not confident. It's not bold. You got to put yourself out there. As a man, you have to risk. You have to take a risk. Again, we could go back to the whole brushing up against someone on a bus. That is no risk involved. You're doing it as an accident. You could say, oh, it was an accident. But if you go and you give a girl a high five, right, and she's like, fuck you, you can't play that off. You can't be like, oh, I was just stretching, right? You got to like realize that you got left hanging, right? Maybe that sucks, but your chance of success is much higher actually because you're being that bold. So, all right. I think I've kind of beat a dead horse on this one, but I want to dissect this shit so you guys understand this. I mean, hopefully now you've got a clear understanding of what this attitude is. Again, doesn't matter necessarily the words that you say. You can be as direct, or you don't have to be as direct as I'm suggesting, but you got to make sure that you are not masking your intent. Don't be a pussy is what I would say. You know, honestly, that's what it comes down to, which means that don't buffer against rejection. Put yourself actually out there and stand strong and be the kind of guy that like, hey, if you're going to, you know what I mean? I'll go for it. Fuck, I'll put my arm around you. And you're like, hey, get your arm off of me. All right, fine. That's cool. But I went for it. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times also, like, I'll just give you this quick tip in going in for the kiss. A lot of guys are like, oh, you know, when do I go in for whenever you fucking feel like it. And you know what? Sometimes she's going to turn her face and turn her cheek. That's fine. Then you go in for it again, and most of the time, you're going to be successful the second time because that first time she's like, man, this is a bold motherfucker. I can't believe this guy just went in for a kiss. I just met him like 5 minutes ago. This is crazy, right? And then the second time, she's like, oh, okay. She's like she hasn't processed it yet, but she's like, I'm kind of attracted to that kind of guy. Like, he's kind of racy. He's kind of like, I don't know about this guy. He's kind of like rated R, dude. I kind of like this shit, right? I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you guys. This is the truth. So, be bold. What the fuck? Who cares if you get rejected? Who cares? Big deal. There's plenty of fish in the sea, but you know, you're going to have more success by being bold. Don't be creepy. Do not be creepy. Every time you're about to do something, think, is this bold? Right? Is this bold and slick, or is this creepy? And it's going to fall into one of those categories. And if it's bold, it's because what is bold? It's putting yourself out there. It's taking a risk. What is creepy? It's when you try and buffer that risk, baby. When you try and buffer that risk and you're not fully committing, bam, it just comes off as creepy. And that's the last thing that you want to ever do as a guy. All right. If you like this video, if you haven't subscribed already, click the subscribe button. Click the bell so you don't miss any of these videos. You know where the bell is. It's down below. Once you click the subscribe, there's a little bell. Click that. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.